Hi Libra, welcome to your July 2020 love reading. It's Raina here. So I'm kind of taking a chance using this memory card, but right now it's pretty much all I have to work with. So I've done this reading, at least half of it before, and so here we go again. And I don't do love readings every month, but I felt called to do it, so it's for anybody who is looking for love. The heart of the matter is the Lover's card, and this is a card of a choice that you may need to make about something or someone. And I couldn't help but notice that I got all major arcana cards for the top 3 positions, which really describe what's going on. So a lot of change, a lot of significant events. And with the Lover's card, a Gemini person can be involved specifically of the signs, but also I'm looking at this card from the past position of the Tower. So it can be, this sudden kind of like love at first sight, but kind of like, okay, now I'm going to take off all my clothes type of thing, where it's just this instantaneous attraction. And I was actually reading about that. I can't remember who it was, if it was somebody famous, but just saying like how they were so attracted to this person who was their soulmate or what have you. And maybe that is necessary to imprint upon the person that is the person they're supposed to be with, so that they don't end up just kind of going, oh, that person's kind of nice, but then they move on to somebody else, just so that that destiny is fulfilled. So this may have happened to you in the recent past, or maybe this will play out. I'm recording this I'm recording this on the solar eclipse in Cancer, so there you go. But if this is something that you have experienced, a Tower situation with love, and you are not single, then and it wasn't something pleasant, then the Tower card can be this revelation that perhaps is not something that the person expected or wanted to find out about. The Tower, though, to me, is that there's pressure building, and it has to, like a volcano, it has to erupt eventually. And so whether that is walking in on some, and the lovers, if the lovers don't involve you, excuse me, it could be something like that. However, it's for the highest good, A, and then B, it was eventually going to happen because it was inevitable, is what I meant to say. So the other thing that I was talking about when I did this part earlier is that if you find yourself in an extramarital relationship, or the equivalent of not being married but you're having an affair, this may be something that felt like sudden, that you did not plan on it. And I'm prepared for people to chastise me, write me, and say that I am, being too cavalier about infidelity and all that kind of thing. And, people have to know that just because I mention certain possibilities doesn't mean that I'm endorsing it. It just means that I realize that certain things are what they are, whether I like them or not. You may feel like either you have a strong physical connection with this person that you don't have with your primary relationship, and so you're in that kind of a place, but it can be also a situation where you're thinking that it is love, when in fact it is more of a physical kind of situation, an affair, if you will. Okay, I hope that is going away because I do not want to hear that. I think it went all the way down the street, whatever that was. So if you know what I mean, I'm referring to something that is more like hot and heavy action, that you think that it is something romantic, and actually the other person maybe kind of just having a good time, and so in other words, you're perceiving the relationship differently. And actually, this challenge card kind of illustrates this, because we have the Six of Pentacles, and that is the people having their hand out, and the person is giving because they are from a position of being able to give charity, if you will, but the scales are in his hand. So this is about give and take. And when we're talking about relationships, obviously, it tends not to be about anything financial, although that can come into it, of course. But it's a situation where there has to be an equal energy exchange, not talking about money tit for tat monetarily. But with the Lover's card, for instance, if you are in love with somebody and they are looking at it as a fling, as like a fun time, then at least you should know that, and it shouldn't be something that you're kind of operating in an alternate universe with somebody else. So I'm thinking that can be, that there's not that, it might be like one-sided love, and you may be the one who is doing all of the heavy lifting in the relationship. Well, I shouldn't say heavy lifting, but that you're actually putting the effort into it for a more well-rounded relationship. And that person, I mean, if you are having a physical relationship, and then afterwards that person is kind of like dismissing you, and maybe not saying, see you later, but just all of a sudden they don't want to talk anymore and all that stuff, then that is a very screaming red flag. I don't know that red flags can scream, but a sign that that person may just regard you as this, booty call, for lack of a better term. I don't know if there's a more updated version of that. Okay. So there's all kinds of things that may be going on with those cards. When we talk about the higher message, we're talking about the Hierophant. And this is the card of tradition and, doing things the way that they've been done. This is a card of marriage, a card of, we could call it morality. So again, if there's any kind of an extramarital thing, this may fly in the face of the teachings that you grew up with, and there could be guilt associated with that. There can be rebellion. It's not going to be just always guilt. You might feel like, what's that saying? If feeling this good is wrong, I don't want to be right, something like that. But this is the card of marriage, so it can, like the Lover's card, if somebody has a lover, in other words, in addition to their marriage, it's the main lesson to take, the main takeaway from it is that the marriage is in trouble. And whether or not that person ends up with this lover forever is almost immaterial, because it can be a bridge to self-discovery of the fact that you are not happy in your primary relationship. And it may seem like a no-brainer, because you're like, well, you should be able to know that. But again, the Hierophant to me a lot of times signals or symbolizes conditioning that is coming from the person's religious background, cultural background, just the people in their life, and the more conventional way of doing things. When the Hierophant is rejected, or when it's in the reversed position, the person may choose a more alternative lifestyle. In the upright position, it's looking at one's, I would say, their moral code, and saying, do you feel good about what you're doing? And if you are married and you're unhappy, is this going to solve your problem? Because that's another aspect that people don't really deal with. It's like they have affairs, but they don't deal with their marriage. Now, Libra sun sign might have Mars in Libra, and Mars in Libra can make a person passive-aggressive, can make them choose the path of least resistance, not wanting to make waves. To me, the Tower card is oftentimes, I associate it with that kind of pent-up anger, resentment that has to find expression eventually. So it's like a powder keg. And if somebody doesn't deal with their anger, their frustrations, it will come out in one way or the other, whether it's having an affair. And sometimes having an affair is passive-aggressive, maybe in the majority of cases, because it's like, hey, you are, mean to me, rude to me, I'll show you, I'm going to have an affair. And even if they don't flaunt it, they still can get that satisfaction that they're screwing over somebody, other than the person that they're having the affair with, I should say. What's coming in is the Knight of Pentacles. This is a very, kind of like a very a work-oriented type of whatchamacallit, influence, where somebody is just doing what it takes to kind of keep everything together. Getting into their routine, maybe finding comfort in that routine. It's connected to Taurus, if that means anything to you. And the outcome is the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups can be like celebrating social situations. So if you are somebody who's single, it may be that you are looking for a relationship that is very intimate, not just sexually, but emotionally. And the Hierophant connects to Taurus, so there might be some kind of a Taurus connection, since I'm getting the Knight of Pentacles and the Hierophant. It's possible that this will come through social interactions, that you meet this person. If you are already connected to someone, and maybe, like I said, having an affair, what have you, you may be trying to, I think with the Knight of Pentacles, I would say, if you feel conflicted about it, perhaps you're just going to lose yourself in your work and talk to your girlfriends about your situation before you decide to do anything. I don't know. I mean, I hope that some of these scenarios are making sense to some of you. But in any case, that's what I have for you, Libra. I hope that you received something from this. If you would like a private reading, I have the two types of love readings for singles and people in relationships linked below. The website that it takes you to will also show other types of readings that I offer. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.